How's it going, everybody? My name is Rinzler here, back again for another video. Welcome back to another shoot video. As usual, shoot in this context means to tell the absolute truth about something, not to actually shoot nobody with a gun. Alright, with that out of the way, we're going to be talking about a topic I've been kind of putting off for a while. Just like the old YouTube channel's shoot video, this is another shoot video I haven't been looking forward to because this is a bit of a touchy subject for me. It's the fact that I'm deaf. All right. Not completely deaf, admittedly. Like I can still hear stupid things, but I've lost a lot of hearing, so that's what I'm gonna be talking about. Again, touchy subject for me. Not a big fan of talking about it, but uh, I don't know. I was gonna have to talk about this one eventually. And a lot of people don't even know that I got hearing issues, so they wouldn't have known to ask me to make a video like this. So I'm just gonna make it on my own because I know that one day I was gonna have to make it, so I might as well do it now, get it out of the way. Um, Man, I've always had problems with my ears. Like ever since I was born, I had problems with my fucking ears. At least that's what it feels like. Um, I don't know who I got it from because my mom and my dad have perfect hearing, so I have no idea where I got it from. I don't even know if it's a trait that can be passed down or if it's just something that can happen to individuals. I don't know. Like neither side of my family really has a history of hearing loss or anything like that. So I have no idea where my deafness came from. But anyway, not the point. Uh, so when I was like a child or whatever, I was kind of sick, and by kind of sick I mean sick a lot. Um, I had a ton of ear infections when I was a child. Like, uh, according to my mom, and my mom doesn't usually exaggerate. She's a mathematician. She usually tells me the exact number. She insists that I've had over 50 in my entire life, and I've only had a couple in my older years. So most of this happened between the ages of 0 and like 5 or 6. First 6 years of my life is where the brunt of my ear infections took place. Um, I had so many ear infections, and the thing is, I had so many of them that I actually kind of started to get numb to their pain. Like a lot of people say, like that ear infections really hurt them, and they like start tearing up and crying. I've never really thought an ear infection was all that painful. Like I barely noticed ear infections, so like I would never tell my mom when I had one. She actually worked out a formula to see if I had one or not. Basically, for some reason, when I was a child, whenever I had like an ear infection, I would always watch The Muppets Christmas Carol. I know that sounds really strange, but I would always put The Muppets Christmas Carol in and just watch the main menu because the DVD copy of Muppets Christmas Carol saw Kermit like running back and forth on the main menu, and it was kind of funny. And as a kid, I would watch that whenever I had an ear infection because it made me feel a little bit better. So my mom worked out that I only ever watched that when I had ear infections, and so whenever I watched that, she knew that I needed to go in to the doctor's office or whatever. And so yeah, I remember getting a lot of shots when I was a kid for that because even though you could take medication, I thought the medication was yucky or whatever. So I kept refusing the medication, so they would have to bring me in, hold me down, and give me a shot. It took me a little while to figure out that the way to avoid getting shots was to take the medicine. It took me a while to figure it out. After I figured it out, I never had to go in to get no shots anymore. So, trial and error, I guess you could say. Um, it probably drove my mom crazy. I had so many ear infections when I was a kid that my mom and dad would have to take turns staying home from work because I would just be too sick to be left with like a babysitter or a daycare or something. I was just always too sick for it. So they would always have to take turns staying home and looking after me, which I appreciate. If they watch, I know that they both tend to watch my shoot videos, so I know you guys are listening. I really appreciate you guys doing that for me because I know it was probably difficult because I was probably a pain in the ass. So even if I was calm, I would imagine that would be a pain in the ass. So Anyway, so because of that, all the constant ear infections, I had some hearing issues pretty early on. I had a difficult time hearing what people were saying. And I remember going to kindergarten, and in Vermont, they take kindergarten very seriously. Uh, so, like, kindergarten's a full on grade in Vermont. And apparently, preschool has become a grade in Vermont ever since I moved. Because I moved to New Hampshire, and apparently, in my absence, preschool became a grade. So, yeah, Vermont is a little strange. I don't know why preschool and kindergarten are considered full on grades in Vermont. Let me know in the comments if you're from a different state and the same rules apply. Because as far as I'm aware, Vermont's the only state that does that. Anyway, so in kindergarten, they would have you do like math and all this other stuff that should be reserved for first grade and over. They would have us do it all in kindergarten. And I think they might have actually had kids doing that in preschool as well, because when I got to kindergarten, a lot of the other kids already knew what they were doing. Like they already knew how to add stuff together, which I didn't know how to do yet. And that might have been because I didn't get to go to preschool because, again, my ear infections were just too bad and too frequent. So I couldn't be left at preschool. It was just impossible. Uh, at least in my time, if it was like if it was like a generation, if I was born a generation later, then I would have been forced to go anyway or be held back for like a year. Like maybe my mom and dad would have had to keep me home for like an extra year and then send me in or something. Um, I mean, the people who worked at the kindergarten, they actually wanted me to not start at the age of 5. They wanted me to wait until I was 6 to start kindergarten. But my mom actually declined this for a reason you might not guess. You see, I was born in July of 2001, which means that I would turn 1 year older every single year. So if I started school at the age of 6, that would mean I'd be 18 in my senior year. And my mom didn't want me to have the choice to just leave school before I was done with it. So basically, that was why I started school at the age of 5 and not 6. That and she probably didn't want me to fall behind everybody else. She didn't want me to be a year older than everybody else in my class, which I appreciate because I would have felt even more uncomfortable if I was older than everybody. So, so anyway, I started kindergarten at the age of 5, still having the hearing issues and the occasional infections, but my infections started to go down quite a bit because I got tubes put in my ears on 3 different occasions. I had one set of tubes for when I was 4, one for when I was 5, and then another set when I was 6. So I had 3 sets of tubes. And the sets of tubes generally prevented more infections, but they still broke through occasionally. But for the most part, infections didn't really bother me during my first years in school. It was mostly just the hearing loss. I learned many years later that I have a hearing loss type called cookie bite hearing loss. I don't really know the specifics of it because I ain't no doctor. But I guess that means like there's a portion of my hearing that's just worse than all the rest. My mom says I have a more difficult time hearing regular sounding voices than I do hearing soft and loud voices, which I think is bullshit, by the way, because I can't hear whispers for shit. Like, if you whisper to me, I'm going to be saying what? Like, I cannot hear whispering for the life of me, and I can't read lips. I never learned how. So, if you're going to talk to me, you got to talk regularly, because otherwise I'm just not going to be able to hear you. So I don't know why my mom's saying that I can hear whispering and shouting fine, but regular talk normally, because that ain't true. Because I cannot hear soft spoken people very well at all. Anyway, so getting back to kindergarten. So I had the undiagnosed cookie bite hearing loss because I didn't get diagnosed with that till I was in like fourth grade, I believe. So basically, the teacher kind of thought that I was stupid or something because ironically, not only was I having problems with my hearing, but I was having problems with seeing shit as well because I had astigmatism, but I didn't have glasses yet. So I got glasses, so that helped with my vision problems, but my hearing problems were still, very abundant. And the teacher kind of made me feel like an idiot. Like she was very blunt when it came to telling me how stupid she thought I was. And it wasn't even my fault. It was just I couldn't hear anything really. I had a difficult time, and I was already a really shy kid because I'd never been surrounded by so many kids my age before because I hadn't been to daycare or preschool before. So I was just nervous and I had a hard time hearing everything and I hadn't learned all these things that apparently I was supposed to have learned. So I was just really slow and they wanted to hold me back another year actually. I went through summer school instead, but that's a story of its own for a different shoot video. Anyway, getting back to the deafness, I mentioned earlier I had three sets of tubes. My last set of tubes was in the sixth grade. Um, it was actually because of my ear issues that I never learned how to swim. Because basically, growing up, I had so many problems with my ears, I wasn't allowed to be submerged in water. So, and if I was submerged in water, then it hurt like a motherfucker. Like they say the ear infections were the ones that are supposed to hurt. The ear infections didn't really hurt at all, but being underwater hurt like a motherfucker. Like really hurt me. So I could not learn how to swim. I could not go underwater in a bathtub. Uh, I just could not go underwater. And to this day, I still have a fear of going underwater because I remember how much it hurt me to do that before. So it's like pain. It's like pain memory, I guess. So like I still don't know how to swim. If I go to a pool ever, which is very rare, I rarely go to swimming pools. If I ever, the reason I don't go to swimming pools is because people tend to splash, and I get anxious that they're gonna splash into my ear or something. So, so you'll rarely ever see me at a pool. But if I ever go to a pool, then I'm always in the shallow end because I didn't learn how to swim. Uh, so. So anyway, apparently I can go underwater nowadays, but I don't really want to take the risk because I know that I have really shit luck. So, so anyway, so I had my third and final set of tubes when I was in sixth grade, when I was 6 years old in first grade is what I was trying to say. So that was my last set of tubes, and that was the only tube surgery I can actually remember. I remember the table being really cold because I think the table they put me on was made of metal. They had like different tables, I think, for small children's surgeries compared to like growing boys and adult, beds or whatever. Whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do remember that the table was really cold. And that they gave me a respirator to breathe into so I'd fall asleep. And I do remember my mom telling me that apparently while I was unconscious for the surgery, my skin started to turn fucking blue, or it started to turn pale, and my lips started to turn blue, according to her. Like my mom was worried that the respirator had fucking killed me. Like I can only imagine how scared she must have been seeing her son lying down on this cold table with his skin like pale as snow and like blue lips. I can only imagine how freaky that must have been. Um, but admittedly, if I saw myself like that, I'd be pretty freaked out too. But I was unconscious, so anyway, I never had to get another tube surgery again. But I did have to get a ton more surgeries because basically, I kept failing all my hearing tests. Not the ones at school, mind you. I kept passing the ones at school because I guess they ran a little bit differently, but the ones at my doctor's office, I always kept failing. So, and eventually I was diagnosed with cookie bite hearing loss and a hole in my left eardrum that needed to be repaired through surgery. And I learned about the hole in my ear when I was about 9. I remember I was 9 and I was in fourth grade when I learned about that hole that needed to be fixed. So, so I need the hole to be fixed, and I remember panicking a lot about surgery because when I was having my first three surgeries, I didn't remember two of them, and the third one I only barely remembered. But now I had like full on memories about everything, and I was super worried about getting surgery to the point that I was crying like a little baby before I went in. Looking back, I wish I wasn't crying because like I seriously had nothing to be worried about. I don't know why I was crying. Maybe it's just because I was a kid and wasn't used to it or some. I don't know. Like there was a thought that kept plaguing my mind that like they might give me too much respirator and I might not wake up, or they might fuck up the surgery because I'm having surgery on my head. Like one bad slip, I could be like damaged permanently. That's a thought that kept going through my mind. So I was like scared to death of surgery. The first surgery unfortunately did not work. The first surgery to repair the hole didn't work. And I think that I actually ended up getting more holes in my eardrum, ironically. I think I remember at one point I had two or three holes in my left eardrum. And basically the surgery I had was like called tympanoplasty, and it was this reconstructive eardrum surgery. And this ended up being the first of many times I would have this same surgery because they didn't do it right the first time. They didn't damage me further, I don't think. I don't think they caused any more holes. I think the holes just spawned on their own. So I might have had to have more surgeries regardless. But anyway, not the point. The point is, I had to do another surgery in like, what was it? In like 2011, I believe. Yeah, I need to do another surgery in like spring or winter of 2011 because the first surgery that I had in like fall of 2010 didn't work. So I had to go in to get my second surgery on my ear. This time the surgery actually was working fine. Like they put packing in your ear to prevent any damage from coming to it, and it seemed like I was healing up fine. Um, but I guess something happened because that summer, me and my mom went to a amusement park, and I hate going to amusement parks. Like I have to be dragged, kicking and screaming to go to those because I don't like them. I don't like being in big crowds. I don't like water rides because because of my ear issues, and I don't like roller coasters because I'm scared of heights. So there's really nothing for a guy like me to do at an amusement park. So I always went to like a amusement park, like kicking and screaming. So for some reason, my mom wanted to take me on this like water playground kind of deal where they had like a bunch of water based things. And she was insisting to me that I was going to be fine, that everything was going to be fine. But they had these water gun things that were like mounted on the edge of railings. And this one fucking kid, all right, I don't know what he looked like, and I don't remember like anything about him. All I know is that this kid was kind of an asshole. He sprayed water right in my left ear with that damn gun, and it unblocked all the packing, opened my ear right back up again. My mom responded by immediately pulling the rope on that big bucket thingy and just splashing the kid with all that freezing water. I hope that he enjoyed that, um, because that really hurt. That really hurt me, and I don't remember if we went home immediately afterwards or if we kept walking around. I don't remember. Either way, I went to the doctor as soon as I got back to Vermont because I went to the amusement park in New Hampshire because I was visiting. And then we went back to Vermont. We had my ear checked out again. Found out the hole had reopened because of that fucking kid and his gun. So great is what I was thinking. Now I have to do the surgery a third time. So I was pretty fucking annoyed by this point. So we did another surgery in 2012. It was winter 2012. I remember that distinctly because this was around the same time I was first starting to get into WWE, and WWE was like all I was thinking about. And I remember getting like WWE themed get well cards after the surgery. Another thing I remember, I forgot to mention this about all the other surgeries, is that respirator they used, for some reason, no matter, they would always give me like an option of what it would smell like. Like they would offer like orange, they would offer grape, they would offer root beer, they would offer all these different flavors. I think they even offered spearmint scented. I don't know why I'm calling it flavored. Flavored implies you taste it. I did taste it. It's hard to explain. If any of you guys have ever used a respirator for surgery, then you know what I mean. But like when you wake up from surgery, all you can smell is that damn respirator. Like it's all that's in your system, and it makes you nauseous as fuck. So every time I got out of surgery, I felt like I was gonna throw up. Like honestly, I never even felt like I was in that much pain after surgery. I was always just more or less focused on not puking. Just honestly, I always felt green as a motherfucker when I got out of surgery because that damn respirator smell would not let up. It just made me feel really queasy, really sick, no matter what flavor I chose either, or not flavor, damn it, the scent. No matter what scent I chose, it always made me nauseous when I woke up, and it always smelled just like medicine. Like, even though it smelled kind of like the scent that they said it would, like when I woke up, I didn't smell that anymore. I just smelled like medicine, and I tasted it in the back of my throat too. That's how strong it was. So I always got super nauseous, and I remember specifically after my third surgery, my dad came in to visit me for that surgery. Actually, he might have been the one to drive me to that surgery. I don't remember. I don't think he drove me to that surgery, but I remember he drove me to one of my surgeries. I don't remember which one it was, but basically, my dad, he I don't okay, I know my dad's gonna deny this, especially since I wasn't fully conscious and I can't completely verify if this story is true or not. But I do, knowing him, I do believe this story. Basically, apparently, my dad was getting really impatient because I was taking a long time. The surgery was supposed to take about an hour, but I guess there was complications with surgery and ended up being 5 hours. So my dad was getting really impatient. So when I was brought out of surgery and I was resting and waiting, and the doctors were waiting for me to wake up or whatever, my dad was apparently getting really, really impatient. He had like a bad migraine or something. He really wanted to go home. But to go home, he needed me to be ready to go home. So basically, according to my mom, now I don't know if this story is true, and my dad is gonna say it's not, but basically, according to my mom, my dad, as soon as I started to be even the least bit conscious, he started to help me out of bed and start getting me dressed and ready to go. Before I was like after a minute of being awake, maybe, and I was still like on fucking Mercury. Like I had no idea what planet I was on. Because I was just on so many medications. So, so basically, my mom walks in the room and she sees me like dead on my feet, with like my shoes and winter coat on, and my dad like putting all this stuff on me when it's clear I have no idea what fucking planet I'm on. And apparently, my mom like flips out, calls a taxi for my dad, and tells him to leave. Again, my dad is gonna say that story ain't true. He's gonna say that my mom's lying. I do remember bits and pieces of that story though, so I'm pretty sure it's true. I do remember being woken up by my dad. I do remember getting ready to go, and then my mom telling me to lie back down. So maybe something similar that happened, but just not the exact same thing I heard. If it did happen, though, I can definitely verify that parts of that story happened. So, anyway, uh, basically, because I was rushed so much, when I actually was ready to go, my stomach was a bit more nauseous than normal, and I actually ended up throwing up on the way home. Completely stained in this winter jacket. We were never able to get the stain out, so I was never able to wear that coat again. It was one of those baggy coats anyway. You know how like kids wear like these giant baggy winter jackets for some reason, while adults wear like more slim fitting ones. I never got that. I don't know why little children have to wear jackets that make them look so fat. But basically this was one of those fat jackets. So it's probably a good thing I lost that one because it wasn't doing my body any favors. Um, but but basically this third surgery unfortunately ended up failing as well. Um, I'm not entirely sure how, but basically it did end up failing this one. I think that it succeeded and then something happened that caused it to fail. I never went to a water park again, so I don't know what it was. But anyway, so basically they told me the third surgery was a failure and I was going to need to have another surgery. So by this point I was getting really fucking sick of getting this surgery. I was just getting really damn sick of getting the same surgery over and over and over and over and over again. Like I'd had this same surgery 3 times, and I'd had 3 tube surgeries on my ear before that. So by this point, I'd had 7 or 6 surgeries on my ears, 3 of which had been on my left ear exclusively. So I was getting really damn tired of getting surgeries. So my doctor gave me an option. He told me that I could either start wearing hearing aids or I could have a fourth surgery. and just get it fixed once and for all. And basically, at the time, I really didn't want to wear hearing aids because I thought that would be like a permanent reminder of my disability. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that when people saw me with hearing aids, they were immediately going to know, oh, that guy's deaf. And I didn't want everybody to know that I was deaf. I wanted that to kind of be something I kept to myself. So I didn't want a permanent reminder of my handicap. So I chose surgery over hearing aids because I didn't want to wear hearing aids. I didn't want a permanent reminder of my disability. And one of my ex girlfriends actually wore hearing aids too. Around she wore hearing aids as well. She had FM hearing aids, where like the teacher would wear a microphone that connected directly to her hearing aids. Uh, I'll get into the hearing aids I would end up wearing a little bit later. So anyway, so August of 2012, I remember that specifically because my surgery took place the day after WWE SummerSlam of 2012. SummerSlam that year took place on August 19th, and my surgery was on August 20th. So it was right the day after. And so yeah, I remember watching SummerSlam the night before and just having a bit of a hard time getting into it because I was just so nervous about surgery. Even though I'd done the surgery so many times, I was so worried they were gonna fuck it up and I was gonna have to do it again. Like I did not want to have five surgeries. Like I was so pissed I even had to do four. So I was really, really sure. I was very adamant that number four was my last one. I did not want to do another one. And that if I need another surgery, I was choosing hearing aids over surgery because I did not want to do it anymore. I was so damn sick of the same process of going in, waiting. I was so sick of going in, making us wait a long time until I was scared shitless, then getting my surgery, waking up with like a severe fucking headache, the smell of the respirator all over me, and in all my senses, and just feeling so nauseous. And I was tired of getting my ear wrapped up in this big ass fucking bandage that made me look like I had Princess Leia's hair in A New Hope. You know how she had like those donuts basically in her hair? Yeah, basically they put this wrap around my ear that looked just like that. Because the surgery I had was it was fairly graphic because they never took my ear off or something like that. They never had to remove my ear, but they did kind of move it around like it was a door, like a hinge. Like I have a scar on the back of my ear, four overlapping scars, each one from all the surgeries I've had, because they basically treated my ear like a fucking door, with the skin being the hinge. I know that's pretty graphic, but that's basically what it was. So if you can't take that, then I'm sorry, but I like to be blunt, and that's just how the way the surgery went. So yeah, I've got four overlapping scars. Luckily, the fourth surgery was final. I didn't have to do another surgery again. The fourth surgery was perfect. It fixed everything. Well, not everything, admittedly. I still had the cookie bite hearing loss, though. So, ironically, even though I took the surgery to avoid getting hearing aids, I ended up having to use hearing aids anyway. Uh, the following January of 2013, I remember it was the same weekend of the 2013 WWE Royal Rumble pay per view. Yeah, I don't know why my hearing issues seem to coincide with my love of wrestling so much. But the same weekend as the Royal Rumble, I got my first pair of hearing aids. They were not FMs. I don't know what brand they were. They were just like normal hearing aids where you can turn the volume up and down. And so that was that. Um, and at first, I really hated my hearing aids. I really didn't want to wear them in public. And the first thing I remember when I was wearing them is that everything sounded robotic. Like, I don't know if anybody else has had that before, like when they wear hearing aids, but for some reason, everybody's voice sounded like Iron Man's to me. Like, it sounded robotic. It was so weird to me. It took some getting used to, some tuning up, but eventually I got used to it. I remember I wore them to school the next week or whatever, and I really didn't want to go, but my mom told me I had to. My mom kept me that entire weekend actually, just so I could get used to the hearing aids. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, that ain't true. My mom did send me off to be with my dad's for the weekend, and then I got back a day early so I could watch the Royal Rumble. So that sorry, I made a mistake there. So anyway, so basically, I was wearing my hearing aids at school. I was really embarrassed about them, hoping nobody would see them because remember, I didn't want to get hearing aids because I didn't want to be like permanently labeled as being deaf. But unfortunately, somebody did see them. They didn't make a big deal about them. They just asked me, "Are you wearing hearing aids?" I didn't know you had those, and I'm like, "Yeah, I just got them. Don't really want to talk about it." So yeah. And or ironically, around that same time, I ended up actually getting back together with that same girl I was telling you about who also wore hearing aids. Uh, so, yeah, so we were basically like a hearing aid pair for a little while. I chose my hearing aids to be gray when I got them because I wanted them to not be that visible. And they were so small that you could barely see them. They were nice and tucked behind my ears because I need hearing aids for both ears, like not just one or the other. I needed them for both ears. My left one's slightly different from my right one because my left ear is worse than my right because of the repeated surgery. So, um, so anyway, so that was my first pair of hearing aids. I had that same pair of hearing aids for years. That same gray pair of hearing aids. I got this entire kit basically to help clean them. I had to start going to all these uh, hearing aid appointments like every 6 or 12 months, and they gave me like these little wire thingies that I would put into the tubes to unblock them when they got clogged. And I started using alcohol wipes to clean all the wax off the tips. Had to replace the batteries. The batteries were like these little flat circles, and I would put them in the back and then snap it closed. My hearing aids, they had stickers on them. My left hearing aid had a red sticker, and my right hearing aid had a blue sticker, just so I could tell them apart. But over time, I got used to figuring it out on my own because the hearing aids would be curved in a certain direction that meant right or left. So I didn't need the stickers after a while. And I kept wearing hearing aids for a long time. A lot of people didn't know I had them because I got less embarrassed about them, and I guess as I got less embarrassed about them, like less attention started to be brought to my ears. So, so I didn't have to worry about people seeing my hearing aids. And as I grew older, I stopped caring about people seeing them because I didn't really give a shit really if people knew I couldn't hear stupid things because that just meant they knew I couldn't hear stupid things. So that means they would probably speak up. So I actually kind of started to like it when they saw I was wearing hearing aids because then they would know, don't fucking whisper because I can't hear you. Even with hearing aids, I couldn't hear when people were whispering very well. Like I was still shit at it. One detriment about my hearing aids is that when I wore them, I had a hard time zeroing in on one sound. Like if people were talking to me in a cafeteria, for instance, I had a hard time hearing what they were saying because my hearing aids made me hear everything at once instead of just one voice. I had a difficult time zeroing in on one particular sound when I wore my hearing aids. So when I got older, I stopped wearing my hearing aids quite so often because I found them to be a bit detrimental. Um, I pretended to wear them a lot. Like sometimes, me and my mom often we watch movies right next to each other, and she can see directly into my ear from where she sits. So what I used to do is I used to just wear my left hearing aid with no battery in it, and just pretend that I was wearing my hearing aids, even though I wasn't. Um, I just did not care for wearing my hearing aids all that much when I got older. I went days where I didn't wear my hearing aids. During my junior year, I pretty much didn't wear them at all. At least during the second half. In the second half of my junior year, I didn't wear my hearing aids at all. I didn't wear them all throughout the summer, and then I didn't wear them for about the first half of my senior year. Then I finally got my hearing aids fixed because I wasn't wearing them because something was wrong with them. Like I couldn't hear anything out of them. So I brought them to the office after my mom finally, called me out on not wearing them. They fixed it for me. Then they broke again after a couple of months. So then I once again stopped wearing my hearing aids. Then I turned 18, so it was no longer my mom's decision if I wore them, and I chose not to wear them. So now I'm not wearing my hearing aids at all anymore. I don't know if I'm ever going to wear my hearing aids again because honestly, I'm just not that into wearing them. They can be a bit detrimental. They're just a problem. They're a nuisance. Yeah, there's like a real nuisance to me sometimes. Like, again, I have a hard time zeroing in on conversations. They're a constant reminder that I've got, deafness, and not even to other people. Again, I don't care if other people knew I'm deaf. If I cared, I wouldn't be talking about it in a shoot video. I just mean like I don't like the constant feeling of something in my ear. Uh, you know, I don't like and when I have it in, it's like a constant reminder that my ears need to be cleaned, which I also don't like. I don't like that feeling. I have a hard time zeroing in on stuff. I can't go out in the rain without a hood on because my hearing aids will get damaged, and I don't like that because I like going out in the rain without a hood on. It's really nice. Um, there's so many more problems with hearing aids than there are solutions. At least for me. My mom always tells me like you gotta wear your hearing aids or your hearing will just get worse. At this point, I've kind of just stopped caring about it because honestly, again, the hearing aids just have so many problems, and I don't really care much if I hear things clearly or not. I just, I don't want to wear hearing aids. Just simple as that. I'm not into them anymore. I was never really all that into them. There was a brief period where I tolerated them, but I never liked them. And I know a lot of you guys are going to tell me I need to wear them, but these damn things cost me a place in the military as well. During my senior year, I wanted to join the military because my sister was joining the military, but I never got the chance to go because my hearing aids stopped me from going and they made me ineligible. So I really despise my hearing aids. Like they keep getting in the way of things I want to do, and I don't like them. So if I don't have to wear them, they're not going in. All right, simple as that. So anyway, so I know that that's not really a great place to end the shoot video on, but that really is where I'm at right now as far as deafness is concerned. Uh, so basically, if I say what a lot, if you ever meet me in real life and I say what a lot, it's probably because I've got hearing issues and I haven't learned sign language or anything like that. Maybe one day I'll learn sign language because maybe it'll be easier to see people talking about stupid things on their hands than it would be to hear it coming out of their lips. I don't know. Who knows what's going on with me? Just if I ever say what a lot when you talk to me, just please be patient with me. I've been through a lot when it comes to my hearing. And even if I was wearing my hearing aids, I don't think it would help anything. So anyway, moral of the story is if you've got good hearing, then try not to ruin it because I was born with bad hearing and it's given me nothing but trouble. So if you were born with perfect hearing and you're just like ruining your own hearing by listening to loud music or something, which I know a lot of people are, just be careful about it because having regular hearing when you're born and just keeping that regular hearing until you're like an old person and you lose your hearing because like most old people lose their hearing anyway. But if you've got like perfect hearing right now, like better than usual or at least normal, then you're already better than me. So try not to ruin it for yourself. Take advantage of being able to hear things normally because I never will, I don't think. So anyway, guys, thank you for listening to this shoot video. I apologize if this was kind of a downer topic. It wasn't very fun for me to talk about, admittedly, so I hope that you guys at least got a little bit of a kick out of it. If you enjoyed this video, remember to give the thumbs up, share this video with all of your friends and family on all of your various social media platforms, ring that notification bell, and let me know in the comments down below what you liked and didn't like about this shoot, and give me some future recommendations for more shoot videos. And I'll see all you dudes and chicks in the next video.